Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back for another episode of Coach Talk. Super excited to be doing this series with a bunch of my fellow coach friends. It's definitely an honor to share spaces with fellow life coaches and getting the opportunity to have conversations around the work that we do and how we help people. It's definitely been a fun experience for me going through the Jay Shetty program, as well as meeting coaches in other spaces and platforms when it comes to the work that I've been doing. I know that the community space that I got to be a part of recently has really opened my eyes to all the things. We all have our own special niches, and I'm excited to share other people's with you all today. So hopefully you enjoyed today's live. Well, hello.
Whoop. How's it going? I wasn't
Doing well. How
expecting
are you?
to be on that quick. I'm good. I'm good. How are you? Sorry, I didn't mean to
Good.
cut your monologue off there.
No,
You're killing it.
you're
Keep
good.
going.
No, you're good. I try to fill that time so that the guests can get on, but you jumped on really quick. That's awesome.
Go on in.
How are you?
I'm good, man. It was raining all morning and now it's beautiful.
Awesome.
Life's good. Lots to be grateful for. How about you?
Yeah. I agree. I've had a lot of great calls this morning already. Been launching a community space for coaches. So we had our first community call today,
Nice.
kind of going over what the space is going to hold and what we hope it's going to grow into. So it was a great morning for me.
Amazing. Amazing. Where are you? Where are you located?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia, here in the United States.
Nice.
What about you?
Right now I'm down in Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Awesome.
La
Yeah,
capital
I saw
federal.
that you went live earlier today.
Yeah,
And you were like out there enjoying the day.
yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, I'd love to hear more about you, and then we can dive into a conversation.
Yeah, that's such a interesting question, and I answer it differently all the time now because
Yeah,
we're always changing.
I
Every
agree.
moment we're anew, right? We're birthing literally new cells, trillions every single moment. So right now, I guess really my main focuses are intentions are just living from the heart, following my highest excitements, um, creating this very I guess positive, powerful mindset around life and around situations. And I guess on a kind of a deeper spiritual level, if we want to kind of go that way, which I am super into spirituality, quantum physics, etc., how we create our reality from within. Just enjoying this ride going from the 3D to the 5D with everyone. And I'm sure that I think you're well aware of this. I see the light that you're putting out there, and kind of moving from also like more of the shadow work to the light work
Yeah,
and to the ascension and to the expansion and to really coming to the realization that everything's perfect always. And this now moment holds all the power. And, I choose to view everyone as perfect. Everything is perfect. Everyone is infinite as well. I like to view people from that frame. And um, I also realize like everything is me, right? So the more I give love, the more I receive. So I don't know if that answers the question or not. I guess it does in my way.
yeah,
But
I love it.
yeah, that's a little bit, I guess, about me in this now moment.
So diving right into that kind of area, like when it comes to the forever changing that we are in the universe, what do you feel like kind of opened your eyes to that way of living and kind of making that choice to kind of view the world in that way? Because I know
Mm.
there's lots of perspectives and there's lots of ways to see the world around us. And how do you think that that serves you?
That's such a good question. I love it. Thanks for asking that. It's getting me reflecting. I guess there did come a point where I was like, I just got tired of living in fear. I got tired of living in limitation and in lack and scarcity in my mind. And, along my journey as well, I've been blessed to have had some incredible mentors, Some experiences more preferable than others. And really a few months ago, really deeply dove into meditation, where I started meditating hour a day, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, and really like ramped up that practice. And throughout that practice, learned a lot about the reality of what this is, the ever-changing reality of nature. That went to a, I don't know if you know what a Vipassana retreat is, but it's basically a 10-day meditation retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been really blessed to have now come across like mentors who are teaching this stuff, kind of the quantum level stuff, quantum financial system, quantum manifestation, how everything is mental, right? Everything is created by the way we perceive things. And at some point, you also empower yourself and you realize that everything, or you come to the realization that I am the power here. Like I create every situation in my life. So if I've created situations where I've been the victim, it has been due to beliefs that I've held onto or that I've had in my mind, typically subconsciously. So if I've created those beliefs, then I can also create beliefs that are more empowering. I do feel like either way, we're disillusioning. We're kind of in disillusionment, or we're a bit deluded either way. So it's like, what delusion do you want to believe in? To believe the one of lack and scarcity, and there's not enough for everyone, and I'm a victim, and everyone's a competition, or do I want to believe? Actually, to me, this isn't even a delusion. This is truth. The universe is infinitely abundant. There's enough for everyone. There's enough love here. I choose to love everyone. See everything is perfect. Be amicable. Like to me, there's no need to, be greedy or. I hold on to things. It's like let's everyone just be free, let's everyone come from a place of love, let's everyone follow our highest excitement, and let's everyone be our most authentic selves. I think an authentic world will naturally, I know there's a lot going on in the world right now, but I feel like naturally through love and authenticity, the world will find balance again, and people will realize, oh, there's enough here for everyone. So that's really the frame of mind that I come from. And it's taken a few years into my journey to kind of like come to this, but I'm grateful for the mentors, and just there's so much free information out here, right? I see you posting, sharing, all the light work on your stories. I do the same. Like there's so many people now, it seems, that are sharing this stuff, and it's fun. It's like a wave, and I'm just riding the wave.
Yeah, I it's funny because when I made the shift of like starting to surround myself with higher frequency
Yeah.
content and higher frequency people, it just kind of naturally became the algorithm that I live in on a very regular basis. And when I've spoken to people who have more of a pessimistic view of the world, I noticed that a lot of times what they were gathering and feeding themselves were things that were kind of pulling them down and weighing them down and creating a mindset that didn't open them up to possibilities. It kind of fed them limitations.
Yeah.
And when I spoke to them, one of the things that I realized is that society and like corporate world wants to teach us from a very young age that we lack, because people who are in that mindset and in that frequency are easy to sell to, are easy
Hmm.
to guide towards what goal someone else wants you to go. And the more I disconnected from feeling like I lack something, the more I started to attract people who aligned with a higher frequency and a higher self. And I think that that's a really interesting journey, but it's hard when you're here and you've made it and want to share that with people who have not experienced that yet.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like woo woo.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's not possible. You've just been extremely lucky. Uh, how do you kind of navigate speaking to people who kind of hear what you're saying, but don't actually hear what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I love the question. I just choose to see everybody as me, and I've been blessed to have guidance towards like learning that about this, because it is right. We are all the entire universe, just viewing life from a different perspective, and so I choose to see everyone as perfect. And when you choose to, I guess, to view everyone as well as like their infinite, most free self, you can see the disillusionments or the patterns or the fear that is there and choose to love it, you can also choose not to buy into the story. And I think I when I first started really embodying this mindset and working on this, I I kind of like would meet them where they're at, and more now it's like, I see your story and this is what I see, and it's okay. And some people, like you said, some people just look at you like you have two heads, four eyes, whatever the case may be. um, and that's okay, right? I think part of it as well with this journey, if you really want to like become in full alignment with your true self, is you really do need to be okay with people misunderstanding you, and understanding as well that the more people misunderstand you, the more connection you're actually going to find, because you're going to run into people, like you said, who are vibrating at a similar level more and more and more. And if that causes you to be alone for a little while as well, that's okay. I think that's to be embraced as well, because being alone's amazing as well. You know, when you're vibrating at a high free frequency, then it's okay. You know, you can let go of people, things in your life that may not resonate with love. So yeah, I'm actually curious as well to hear a little bit about your side, because I don't know a whole lot, to be honest, about you, Ben. I like the vibes we've had. We've had the odd interaction. We've been following each other maybe for a little while. So what does your journey look like a little bit? Like, how did you, I guess, cultivate this mindset as well? Or we can say,
Yeah.
you know,
I,
where you're vibrating at a much higher frequency than you may have been before.
I would say, very similar to you, I had some really great mentors along the way. I would say my grandfather was a very wise man when it came to getting me to see the way that the world could exist around me. Uh, it was definitely a journey, but I found myself always trying to grow and learn more about the world around me. And because I've moved so much, I
Right.
learned that the reality that I was taught from the space that I lived in as a child did not exist everywhere. And when I
Yeah.
started to kind of explore different places and living in different places and seeing that what I thought the world was only one small piece of it. And the more I kind of got to know more people, it just opened my mind to endless possibilities that existed in the world for people to connect to. And the more I realized, wow, okay, I was looking at the world from a very, very unique perspective. How do I broaden my mind to see it in a more full light? And kind of what you were talking about, where you were talking about like we're all one, we're all connected. I started to see, and when I started the journey of healing, when I got to the other side, I wasn't seeing hate. I was seeing a lot of pain. I was seeing a lot of
Yeah.
fear. You kind of
Yeah.
see through the things that people do that trigger you when you're not healed.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm on the other side, I was starting to see, wow, there's a lot of people in their own pain. It's like this own multiverse that they have to live in. And I was just like, how can I help people free themselves from this pain that they are like trapped in right now?
Hmm.
And the more I've worked with people, the more I've seen all the different realities that can exist. Um, I started working on a book where I kind of wrote my experience of a certain time in my life, and then I
Yep.
got people from the outside to share their perspective of my same journey. And it was
Yeah.
very interesting to get the feedback
I love that.
of what they saw was very different than what I was feeling at the moment. Like I
Yeah.
tell people all the time, like I felt like I was in the wave, like in the white part where it's crashing and just tumbling me around and like reaching out screaming for
Yeah.
help, whereas people who were watching were like, wow, you were incredibly strong, you inspired me, you did this.
Mm.
I was like, that was inspiring. Didn't feel inspiring at the time,
Yeah, I got
but
you.
it
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
made me connect more with that. And I was just like, how can I help more people connect with that version of themselves and start to see the pain and fear behind a lot of the hate and anger that
Hmm.
exists? And it's just like kind of been a journey where I'm just like, wow, there's so many beautiful people in this world. And it's sad we can't all see that yet. It's definitely something I want to do on my journey is open people's eyes to
Yeah,
that.
I love it, and I sense we're very aligned in that sense. I'm kind of the same way. It's just I don't know if it's like we choose this life or this life kind of chooses us. Um, I, I go back and forth, but ultimately it's like there's this thing inside. It's like this. I know this information. I just want to share it, right? And when you do kind of heal, when you do heal, and I choose to, I choose that I'm healed now, you know, because I did learn at some point when you're always in the shadow work, what you're doing is your mind doesn't know the difference between the past and the present. So if you keep reliving trauma, what you're really doing is you're continuing to replay the narrative. And there's a point where you can kind of, you can not kind of, you can rewrite your story and start to see all the benefits it had for you and start to see how it always happened perfectly and it got you here, right now. How everything that happened, in a sense, you chose. Your soul, I do believe our souls come here on this earth and we make agreements. Our souls make agreements to experience certain things so that we can learn and that we can evolve and that we can grow through that stuff. And typically, our pain from the past ends up being part of our purpose, part of our light moving forward. Um, and as I kind of lose my train of thought here, lost some thoughts out in the field here. Maybe they'll swing back around if they're if they're meant to come back. But yeah, here maybe I'll let you take it away based off what I've said.
Yeah, I absolutely love the idea of refocusing where your mind sits because for me, purpose, like you want to be intentional about what you're placing your energy around and in
Mm,
because everyone's energy can impact. And I think the biggest thing that I navigated through life thinking was I have to be really careful. My energy can be easily impacted by the things around me, the people around me.
yes.
And then I came into the realization that my energy is a very powerful energy that can
Yeah.
also impact the energy around me. And when I stopped shrinking myself or trying to protect my energy and gave it its full momentum to exist in a space, I realized it had a ripple effect on the people around
Hmm.
me and the conversations that were being had around me. And I was just, okay, how do I get people to amplify themselves? Because a lot of times, empaths, we take on like the pain of others, we take on a lot of some of the like lower frequency energy because
Yeah.
we want to absorb it, we don't want people
Yeah.
to feel it,
Yeah.
but we forget that sometimes by existing in a higher power and frequency that it expands other people around us. And
Totally. Yeah.
I think that it's really important for people to realize that power that they have, and we all have it.
Yes,
Like
we
you
do.
said, we're all part of the universe, and I
Yeah.
think that we just have to be reminded of that on a very regular basis so that in spaces where the energy is low or it seems off, don't forget your ability to change that in that space.
I love it. Yeah. Bashar talks about how a healer on our planet will never say, I healed someone, you know, or I even helped someone. What a healer does essentially is will show up and offer a vibration. So if I'm vibrating really high and I show up and someone's not, but I'm on a call with someone, or even just I post something in social media and someone is just not vibrating at that level currently, or hasn't seen that yet, hasn't seen that light. What I'm doing is here's the vibration. It's here. And when we consider the what we call the phenomena of healing is actually that person who's in a lower state choosing to match the vibration. So what you're saying is so resonant with me. It's like by being ourselves, by putting our full energy out there, by being willing to fuck up too, right? And willing to trigger and willing to, you know, say something that may come across as completely blasphemous. Sometimes I share things in my story. I'm like, whoa. But it's like, you know what? It's me, and what it does is it offers up it's like a permission slip for someone else to go, oh man, that that guy or girl or whomever is really, really like stepping into their power. And that may trigger some people, and some people may who aren't ready for it. It's just like, no, whoa, that's way too much, or like, what are you smoking or whatever. And some people are going to think, you know what, that's like it's just a bit of a spark for them, right? And for me, it's like the more I focus on those people, and the more I just focus on bringing the light, it's like the more you create that in your reality. And like you said, yeah, relationships change, when you change your reality internally, when you change the way you view things, when you go, you know what, at one point it was like, I've been mad at my dad long enough, I'm just going to choose to love him and see him and see him as perfect, and like view whatever happened, it happened because it had to happen, and it happened because of this, that, and the other, whatever. There's no reason. We can choose now because, like you said, we are no longer victims of our circumstances, but creators, powers, or powerful creators. You realize, well, I can choose. I can create a loving relationship here, or I can at least be that myself. And if the energy doesn't resonate, that's okay. Like, love naturally also will repel that. You don't even need to like set boundaries. I find either. It's just be authentic, be yourself, be big, play big, and naturally, the people that aren't ready for it, because like you said, everyone's got it. I see it too. Everyone has this in them. Everyone's special. Everyone's unique. Everyone has this powerful energy. We all have access to the same forces, to the same vibrations. The people that just aren't ready will kind of just like bounce off, but in a loving way. They're perfect. They're bouncing off. And the people that are made for it, you're like a magnet to it. So like you said earlier, you begin to attract that community as well around yourself. And yeah, that's all it is really. It's like, offer your vibration. Anyone on here, I'm sure anyone watching this reel right, or this live right now, you have this in you, and 100% just like play big. I love that. Play big, play full out. Like,
I
we're
think
here to have fun.
really, yes, it's very interesting because I feel like in a lot of circumstances, like we're forever growing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said at the beginning, like introducing yourself, it's going to be different every single time. And in a lot of spaces, like when you level up, when you move to the next phase in life, where you are now surrounded by new things, and being able to kind of grow in those spaces and keep that same energy going. Because one thing that I noticed was when I sit and focus on myself, when I listen to my body and my reactions to things around me, there are times where I'm in a space where my energy is not as high, and I can feel the judgment that may exist. Maybe I feel triggers in things that are happening, and I'm like, okay, let's take a look at this. Let's examine this, because
What an
the
opportunity.
best things in life happen when I'm operating in my highest frequency. And this frequency I'm feeling right now is teaching me something. There's something that I'm holding on to, or there's something that I'm being fearful of and trying to avoid,
Yeah.
that is not sitting well with me. And it's taking a step back and being like, okay, because the level I was in before, the phase I was in before, I was perfectly fine. I was operating high. Now I'm in a new phase,
Yeah.
and I just have to figure out, okay, how do I operate high? What am I learning here? What journey am I on in this phase, this day?
Mm-hmm.
And when I start to become more aware of that, when I know that something isn't aligned right now, that gives me that time to reconnect with self and find that alignment again in a new space and in a new way. And I think that a lot of times that can be where we fall really far from center,
Mm-hmm.
because we felt like, okay, just a day ago I had this together, I understood it, but why
Yeah.
am I completely not feeling it and not understanding this connection anymore?
Yeah.
Uh, have you had those times, and like how do you kind of refocus and pull yourself back to alignment?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think when we leap, that we're going from here to here. So, and I say when we leap, I feel we're becoming more of who we are. And when we become more of who we are, we need to shed more of who we are not.
Yeah.
All the conditioning, all the scarcity, all the fears, all the shame. So it's got to go. In order to go, it does need to be seen. It does. This is why I've reframed it to light work. It's no longer shadow work. It's like it was in the shadow when I wasn't seeing it. Now I've jumped. Now I see it. So it's actually in the light. So I can love it. I can feel it. I can embrace it. I can get lost in it sometimes. I can allow get myself in a place of confusion. Like, wait, I thought I had it all figured out yesterday. What's going on? I I literally experienced this today. Like yesterday, I was just one of those days where the momentum just started in the morning, and it just thing after thing after thing was happening, and synchronicities, and my energy was just really, really high. And this morning, quite frankly, thinking about this, because part of my highest excitement lately has been jumping on lives of my own, jumping on a couple lives with a friend of mine. But I look at my ego looks at your page and goes, oh, he's got 46,000 followers. I got 1,400. I haven't spoken to someone like this on a live. And then brought up the fear, brought up the shame, the anxiety that needed to be seen, because ultimately I know in my heart, this is my highest excitement. And actually, what an opportunity, to speak to a larger audience and share and hopefully give value, right? And so that was part of it. What I like to do now is, when I catch myself in those states, like what I was saying earlier, I like to view people as infinite, as free. And if I'm infinite, it's like, wait, this has to be positive. So then it's like, can you reframe it and almost turn the anxiety into excitement and be like, what could possibly come out of this for me? Like, how good is this going to get? What am I going to learn about myself here? Right? How much am I going to expand through this experience? Yeah, it's okay. I know I'm scared, and that's okay. And it's okay. It's to be loved. It can come along for the ride. But yeah, like reframing that, I've noticed I can reframe and almost turn like alchemize anxiety into excitement just by the thought. What's the thought you're having around it, right? Ultimately, anxiety and excitement is kind of thinking in the future. So you are not fully present with the now is another thing. So gratitude, come back to a bit of a gratitude practice can ground you again, I find. Meditation. But yeah, lately I find really the most powerful thing for me has been the mind and the mindset shifts, and practice. It's a practice. It's a daily practice, journaling and kind of going on like streams of consciousness in my own mind, like kind of like Esther or Abraham Hicks style, where she's just going and going and going, and she creates like a vortex of positive thoughts and positive energy. But yeah, it still happens. And yeah, it's to be loved. It's all here to be loved. That's the thing. It's all here in the light now to be seen, to be loved. And once it's loved, it can be alchemized back into more of what you are.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm glad that you shared that, because in so many instances, there have been opportunities where I was just very overwhelmed with the possibilities that could come from an opportunity that life has granted me. And I was just like, okay, step into this. Like,
Mm.
and before I do any positive talk or coach talk or jump on other people's podcasts, like all I do is just like do an exercise where I just pull the universe kind of like wrapping it around me,
I
because
love
there have
it.
been so many opportunities where sometimes the words coming out of my mouth were not thoughts that were formed here first. They just kind of came out.
Yeah.
And there have been so many times where after my interaction or conversation, that was what was in my inbox, was people are like, that thing that you said was just so exactly what I needed to hear today. And I'm like, you're welcome. The universe used me as its vessel,
Yeah,
because
you're
I
channeling.
I did not go into that conversation expecting to go there, but we got there, and I'm glad that you were able to connect with that live in that way. And I noticed that the more I got out of my head and just trusted, the more stuff like that flowed into the conversations. Whereas, like, if I were to have a script and sit here and be like, okay, we're now on question number 3,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't be serving the way that I serve alive if I'm just sitting here allowing conversation to happen the way it does naturally.
Yeah. Oh man, that's such great points. I feel we're moving we're so quickly moving out of planning and just into flow and presence and ease. And that all requires us being here now. And like you said, a lot of the most valuable things that come through aren't pre-planned. I used to sit there and like try and plan my posts ahead of time. What is going to resonate, this, that. Now it's just like, well, whenever something comes, I pull my phone right away. And because like, I know that if I give it too much time, my ego will start to get in the way. Well, how do I make sure that people like it? It's just like, no. This is the message right here. It's whatever's flowing through right now. That's what the universe is trying to use me as its vessel for. So I absolutely love that. Yeah, man. More flow, man. It's the work is done for us. We just need to be here. We just need to show up a lot of the time. Like the work's, the downloads are here. We just need to allow ourselves to be in tune with them. And, you asked me a half hour before hopping on the live, any questions? I was like, yeah, my ego has questions, but no questions. Let's just go. Right. No questions. Yeah. Let's just go because I'm the same way as you. I know that actually the most powerful stuff is just what's channeled here in this conversation. Our energies are connecting on a certain level at a certain vibration, and we're in a certain flow right now. And I truly believe the universe is channeling higher thoughts, higher downloads through us into Instagram, the ether, whatever, right?
Yeah. And it's real fun because when it comes to like the connectedness of the people that come on and do lives with me and the people that I've gotten to connect with in other scenarios out there, it always feels very guided, as well as like this was where I was meant to be. Yeah. And I've started to get really good at noticing the spaces where it's just not supposed to happen. I'm not the type of person where if something gets canceled that I like go inside and get angry and upset with someone. I'm just like, the universe didn't want it to happen today. The universe wasn't ready for it because either my energy wasn't going to be where it needed to be, or the connection we had needed a new experience that's going to happen before our next opportunity to do this. Because every single time that I've gotten to connect with people, I'm like, wow, I really needed this conversation. And as much as people enjoy these that I do, I walk away from these on a new level as well. When I first started my Positive Talk series, it was not intended to grow past 300 episodes. Like, I was like, I am just trying to get people through this pandemic, this crazy election year.
Oh, you've been doing
movements
them for that long. Sorry to cut you off. You've been doing them for that long. Wow, good for you, man. That's so cool.
I started it in 2020, and I was just like, because I was a content creator before that, and I was like, I don't feel like sharing my story right now resonates with what people need. And I was just like, how can I still show up as a light in this world? And Positive Talks was born out of that. And I was just blown away by the magic that wove itself through all the episodes that I got to do. And I always tell people, I'm like, it's a beauty for me, the person on here, and everyone that gets to experience it. And as long as I feel that way about them, I will keep them going, because I think that they're putting magic out into the world that it needs. And if it doesn't feel right, then I will find a new way to align with my purpose that I've got here on the earth.
Yeah. You're just following your highest excitement. As long as it's the highest excitement, then it's, Rashard talks about following our highest excitement aligns us, like doing something that's exciting to us. That brings up that feeling of passion, of fun. That's our unique, true vibration. So following that will lead us to, giving the world our unique gifts, also lead us to our authentic selves and lead us to what we want in this life. That's so cool. 3 years or more, I guess, more 4 years. And you made a really great point that I just wanted to touch on as well about, it is just as much about, yes, we're here, we come, I think we show up in service, but also we are a service to ourselves when we do this. When you give love, you receive love. It's a mirror universe. So the more you give, the more you receive. And if there's one message that people take from this, I think that might be the most important one, is the more you give, the more you receive. With a guy that's walking around giving everyone even if it's just a smile or a conversation or a high five, or hey, how you doing, or a hug, or their time, or some help on something physical, whatever the case may be, the universe goes, well, that guy's not in lack and in scarcity. He's not worried about accumulating things. He's giving. So he must be abundant. So let's give him more of that. Let's give him more of what he's giving. So when you give, you receive as well. And giving from your heart frequency specifically, which is what I do with my coaching, I do it donation based at the moment, is you, as long as you're giving from your heart frequency, you are always covered. You're always covered by that same energy, right? What you put out is what you get back. So beautiful. Yeah, I love that. And one last thing is, without the people watching as well, we can't co-create this. So it's awesome that people come on here and watch, and I'm sure watch the replays. And I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful, to be here with you. And yeah, it's beautiful. That's all I can say. It's a lot of fun, and we are giving to ourselves as much as to others. And everyone has that power to give to others and to give to themselves. It's all kind of the same energy, as long as it's coming from that heart space and not from, I'm giving because I want something from you, right? There's a difference as well.
Yeah, I think that's the journey that we all have to take on our own. And when it comes to what is perceived by others, that's none of our business.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what you're giving is pure of heart, and you're giving because you truly have to give, like you have that relationship with that energy that no one can really take away. I had to stumble through realizing that I don't have to prove my intentions to people, and that was definitely a
Yeah,
journey. And
interesting
then
journey, that one. Yeah.
teaching people that I can't tell you step for step how to get to where I got to, because our journeys are different. The purpose that someone else will play, all I can do is help them try to connect with that purpose, because there's a lot of people out there that try to sell you this is the way to get to here,
Yeah.
and it's a unique thing. Like, I can't go and look at your page and mimic what you are doing on mine and expect to see the same results, because I
Yeah.
wouldn't be being my most authentic self. I wouldn't be allowing the universe to use me with all my skill sets to be the best version of me that the world needs right now. And a lot of people see other people's success and try to mimic it,
Yeah.
thinking that that will bring them the same energy and resources. And when I started to kind of teach people, I'm like, I'm here to help you figure out what your resources and skills can be used for service in this world. I can't tell you to do it the same way I'm doing it. You can't have coach talk or positive talk, but you can have your own version of it. Just make it yours,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
people will resonate with it. And I think that is a hard lesson to teach people, because a lot of times they're like, tell me what to do step by step. I need everything told to me. And I'm like, can't do that for you. That's your
Yeah.
journey you have to discover and uncover through life experiences.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I certainly fell into or learned my lessons, hiring those kinds of coaches, and all perfect experiences, all perfect lessons that needed to be learned. And I have a very similar um, way of going about my coaching. It's about you. It's not about me. What's your highest excitement? That's my favorite question. What's your highest excitement right now? What is it? Go do it. Okay, there's fear there. Okay, well, we can work on the belief that's creating that fear, the negative belief that's creating that fear. But ultimately, like, I don't know, right? And yes, I see a lot of the coaches. Although, to be honest, my feed now is pretty much clear of any coach that I look at, and I go, it doesn't resonate, doesn't feel authentic. It feels kind of salesy. I feel like what worked a year ago definitely doesn't work today. Our consciousness is too high, and it's raising at too quick of a rate. Even what worked a month ago, doesn't work today. What works today is authenticity, is you being you, and you giving your unique gifts to the world from your heart and following your highest excitement. And that's what people are resonating with more and more and more. And it's beautiful, because I think that just leads to, more people being more authentic, and authenticity, that's a high vibrational state. You know, that's our natural state. That's what we want to be in. You know, I think people really want to be authentic at the end of the day. And they're attracted to authentic people. And like you said, hey, show me your ways. It's like, no, you don't want to be me. You want to be you. You want to be you.
Yeah.
Trust me. I've tried to be other people. I've only ever wanted to be me and only ever wanted my love ultimately. So I can help you be you. But if you want to be me, I can't help you with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting once you kind of fall away from thinking you have to be anything but yourself, the energy that now exists around you, because it's exhausting to try to mold yourself into something that you're not. Like, it takes a tremendous amount of energy to do that, and you will never succeed. And when it comes to just accepting yourself, and you've got to start the journey. Like, I always tell people, like, you can look at what I've created and look at episode 300, but go back to episode 1, go back to the
Yeah.
episodes in the beginning and see that I've grown. And maybe that's where your journey's at. And don't compare yourself to people who have honed in on figuring stuff out on their journey, because we're all on a journey, and there are
Yeah.
probably things I could look at anyone's life and be like, wow, they're so further ahead on this journey in that aspect of life than I am, and I could probably be inspired by what they're doing. But don't let someone else's journey who's a couple steps ahead of you make you feel like what you can contribute right now with the skill sets you have, don't let that render that useless. Like, that is just as
Mm.
important as the roles everyone else is playing right now. And I had to learn that, and it's a fun journey. And when you're not comparing yourself, you're allowing everyone else to inspire you to keep going
Yeah.
into the energy
I love
that's meant for
that.
you.
Yes.
It changes your life for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to see people that like, I don't want to say like ahead of, maybe just in certain ways along their journey, they are ahead of. That's okay. I'm okay with saying ahead of me. I just don't like to compare. Someone's ahead of me, someone's behind me. You know, I view us all as equal. But sure, we all have kind of. Some have been on the journey longer, and some maybe are more advanced in certain ways. I love that. That's exactly my kind of my point of, or my perspective as well. Is like, wow. Well, first of all, like, thank you for being you. And obviously, if I'm attracted to you, I see part of me in you, and I'm going to allow myself be inspired by you to show more of that part of myself, but in my own way, as opposed to try and be you or compare myself to you. And it's led to actually me like meeting more of these people instead of like almost idolizing them. Like, I meet them and then become friends with them, and friends slash maybe like a bit of a friend mentor kind of situation, or just friends, as opposed to like putting myself beneath them and comparing, and they're better and they have this and they have that. So I love that. Yeah, that little mindset shift between, wow, like, what can this person teach me? Like, how can they, I want to be inspired by them. I am inspired. I love that energy. I'm attracted to it. Where can I find that within myself, but in my own unique way? Absolutely. Yeah, I love that perspective on that. And then the same goes for when maybe someone is coming to you. You can, instead of being like, okay, I'm the big bad coach and you're my client and I'm gonna, I'm the one, right? For you, it's like, no, wow, okay, cool. Like, come on in here, buddy. Like, how can I support you? Or like, let's go. Like, I'd love to share. And if I can help you, that's amazing. I'm happy to, as opposed to creating any sort of, uh, comparison one way or the other. I'm less than, or I'm better than. It's like, no, just like, we're all here for each other. And there's older versions of us. There's versions of us in the future that we run into, and it's all perfect. It's all great. It's all here to teach us. It's all here to help us grow and expand and show us how to love even more and show up even more unconditionally, with our service, with our love, etc.
Yeah. I mean, every client I've worked with, I've learned something from as
That
well. So
too. Yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah.
there are
Great
so
point.
many opportunities if you leave yourself open. Uh, I've had lots of conversations with other coaches that I've met in the world, where they had a very strong belief that the one way to achieve life's purpose is this one single path. And I was just like, I definitely think that that's one way.
Yeah,
I am fully open to believing that your direction that you are able to guide people is a single way to do things, not the only way. And I've always looked at it as, okay, like this is an opportunity for me to stretch my boundaries and open my mind even further, uh, and unlock parts of me that wouldn't have existed without these experiences. But I've never gone into any relationship with another human assuming I knew a way that they needed from me. So for me, it's just been like a journey of like, okay, let's see where this goes and let's
yeah,
see how I can support you. If it's a paying client, the space is for them to utilize me as a coach. But on that journey, like I'm picking up bits and pieces as well. And it's
great
absolutely
point.
amazing because it just, there have been times where I've had breakthrough moments for myself where I was stuck on certain things in life and couldn't figure out how to move a project forward,
Yeah,
and someone just laid a piece of information in front of me that just made everything make sense. And I'm like, I just have to say thank you for that because I needed that for this piece over here that I'm working on. And I appreciate you bringing that to the table today.
yeah, yeah. I love it. Yeah, leave yourself. I jumped off a call. It was like an hour and 45-minute call with a client. Um, and we have long calls like that because we just learn so much from each other. And I learned so much in that call. So I love that point. Like, leave yourself open. Yeah. If we go, here's my program. I used to have programs. Now I don't have programs. I'm going to show up right here, right now, in the best way that I know how, from that frame that you're infinite, you're free. And from that frame, and just allow, whatever needs to come through channel to come through. If we put a program in front of them, it's like you were talking about earlier with this, with the interviews that you do, or the conversations, the positive talks. If we have too much of a strict framework, then we're crystallizing that way of being. And in crystallizing, then we stay in that vibration. And that might be a vibration of force instead of flow. That may be a vibration instead of do this against what feels right and authentic to you, as opposed to let's do this in a way that, yes, is powerful, but comes from a place of ease and alignment as opposed to misalignment. So I love that. It's like anytime that's why I said earlier, less planning, more flowing.
Yeah.
All the answers are here for everyone, always. It's just about tuning into that frequency, that all that isness, that is always here. And that's the best speakers in the world. I'm sure best coaches. It doesn't hurt to have a framework, I don't think, for things. And you know, they not yeah, sure, it doesn't hurt to have a framework, but also just like if it goes off course, allow it. Like, go with the flow, right? Because if it's going another way, it's meant to go that way. And if we kind of no, grab it, I'll pull it back here, then we're creating resistance as opposed to flow.
Yeah. I, being someone who has generally worked alone as a coach and getting the opportunities to work with teams of people, I've
Yeah,
found that structure works well within a space where there are multiple people who need to understand the existence of a framework
right.
just to keep you centered into a space.
Interesting.
But
Yeah,
even within those spaces, you want to still have an allowance of shifting and creating space for whatever comes your way in that moment, because there's a lot of opportunities that can be missed if you have too rigid of a structure that doesn't allow for movement to exist in those spaces. But I've definitely found that in spaces where I try to create too much structure, I fall off center, and
yeah,
navigating it makes me more anxious and unsure. Whereas I'm like, okay, I know what I'm meant to do.
yeah,
I'm meant to show up,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's going to go the way it goes, and
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. And I think the more you learn to trust yourself and connect with yourself, the less amount of fear is attached to kind of putting yourself in spaces where it'll happen the way it's meant to happen.
Yeah. Throwing yourself in the uncertainty. That's the most important thing. The word you said right there. Trust. Trust. It's always working out. Even if something happens that you perceive as negative, it's there to teach you something.
Yeah.
It's there. It's always there for you. So it's always working out. And the more paradox is, the more you trust and you're like okay with the worst thing happening, usually the best thing happens, or like something magical happens, right? Because you don't have that fear attached to it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it.
I think for me, getting over the fear of public speaking, of thinking that I
Mm.
have to present perfect to be respected or admired by people, when I finally got to the point of allowing myself slip ups, like stuttering over words and laughing at myself, instead of allowing myself to dive inward of embarrassment, shame, and everything else that comes up from doing something
Yeah.
like that, I was able to just allow myself to flow, and people connected with the authentic version of me, showing up as is a person who can make mistakes and still
Yeah.
pivot and
Yes.
navigate through life, even though you slip up or stumble or miss a slide, and it's like, well, I missed the slide, you know what, and make a joke about it and come right back to it. Whereas before, it was almost like a meltdown panic attack of, oh my
Yeah.
god, they're going to think I'm stupid, they're going to think I'm worthless. um, but that's just not true. Like, I found the more charismatic, the more authentic I am, the more real I was, the more connected I was with the audience and people that I've worked with, because we're all imperfect and we see that in one another, and that's how we
Mm-hmm.
can connect.
Yeah. That's more relatable, right? The speaker that comes up and almost like a robot, right? Everything is scripted and there's no mistakes. It's like nice speech, but like I didn't feel anything.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you come up and I miss a slide and I stumble over a word here and I'm laughing and it's like, and but I'm speaking from emotion and I'm present. Well, okay, yeah, that was a lot more fun. That was just like there was more emotions, there was more connection there was more energy there. So I 100% agree. And like I keep saying, like this is where we're going as a species: more authenticity, more connection, less robotic politician style um, speaking or whatever the case may be. Like we can't connect to that. We just our levels of awareness and consciousness are just too high. They're just too high. So yeah, be real. Laughing at yourself so good. It's the best. It's the best cure. It's like instead of in that moment where you screw up, you have like two options. Oh my, like feel shame and embarrassment and like you said, go inwards, or just laugh as loud as you possibly can. You know, just let it out.
Yeah.
There, literally, I feel like it's a quick decision. It's like, do I feel shame or do I just laugh? And if you can just be like, I'm just gonna laugh, it diffuses any sort of discomfort for you and awkwardness, and but it may still be awkward, but in a fun way and in a way that's relatable, as opposed to like curling up into a shame ball, which is perfect, by the way. If that's what's happening with you right now, it's still also perfect. It's to be loved. Just a perspective shift that I would offer to people that may be struggling with that. It's something that I had to overcome. Sounds like something you had to overcome, and I still have to overcome it in certain new public situations or situations like this, where I certainly notice myself getting more and more comfortable as we continue talking. So we're always doing it. We're always doing it. Like you said, we're always putting ourselves in new environments. So when you can learn that just everything's always happening for you and put yourself into more and more of those environments and realize, okay, I'm always safe afterwards. I'm not dying. I'm not dead. I'm safe. I'm here. I'm alive. Right. Then it's easier to just, okay, whew, take a breath, sigh, let's go.
Yeah. And I think, kind of going back to what we said at the beginning, was remembering your ability and power to help other people feel that level of calm, that level of security. Like, I've learned that when it comes to people coming on to these lives, it may be someone's first time ever doing something like this.
Yeah.
And I think because I've done so many that I'm very natural in the space, I understand the space and how to kind of hold space for people who may be nervous, who may uh, feel as though they don't have as much to offer in the space. And I'm like, you know what? The space is for you. The space is meant to kind of give you that moment to show the world who you are. And whatever version of you shows up today is exactly what the world needed today. So
Yeah.
don't
Yes.
don't worry about it, because I've had more people connect with some of the more shy people who have come on
Of
because it's
course.
very relatable.
Yeah,
Um,
of course.
and I think that that's a beautiful thing, because it is an experience, and I've had so many people put their trust in me, which means a huge amount to me, because to know someone put their trust in my hands to come on a live and represent themselves for an audience, that's a lot. And
Yeah.
it's an honor to have people in a space come and be open to having conversations like this, because we go deeper than some of the standard conversations you may have with a stranger, so it's nice to have
Yes, we
those.
do. Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love them. I one quick point I'll mention on like the maybe the person that isn't as used to it is a little quieter, maybe a little nervous. Yeah, you're needed just as much as any of us. Like none of us are more or less needed than the other. We're all needed. You know, at this point, you and I, you more experienced than me, are at a point where we are more comfortable here, and that's great because now you know we're meeting a different audience, and that's perfect. And as we expand, our audience grows as well. But like, there's still people needed in the other areas as well, and other parts of the journey as well that like need you. They just need you to show up, like you said, just show up. That is so important. The fact that you people come on here as their first live with you, that is incredibly like I see that as heroic. Like I have so much respect for that. That's incredible. Like I've been on a bunch of lives before. I've been, you know, making content for almost 2 years now. So someone doing it for the first time, wow, like that's amazing. It really is. And that's all they need to do is just show up, right? And that's like, and yeah, it's gonna help people regardless. You know, there's someone out there for everyone in terms of like support and you inspiring someone just by being you and meeting yourself where you're at, just allowing yourself to be where you're at fully.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And like you said, there's space for everyone. You don't have to come on a podcast to be of use to the world. Like, show up every day in the life that you live and the people you interact with, and you've got a purpose there.
That's it.
And I think that
Love it.
there's there's so many ways we can beat ourselves up thinking that, okay, why aren't we doing more? But everything that you do, big or small, it matters. And I think that that's a beautiful note to wrap up on. So, like, I want to say thank you so much for jumping on here and doing this with me. And if you want to take us out with how we can support you on your journey and ways that we can kind of move your message past Instagram and further into the world, I would love to hear it.
Beautiful. Well, hey, gratitude received and sent back. Thank you for. I reached out to you on a limb. I was like, "This looks cool." I reached out to you. You're like, "Let's do it." You sent me a link right away. Oh, awesome! You know, so thank you for being so open to it, and thanks for having me on. And I mean, right now, I guess you know, in terms of things that I'm doing, and if you want to support in any way, I have my Instagram page, which you'll see here on there. I've written an ebook. It's all about basically ways that I've learned how to make myself happy. Little exercises here and there, easy things just to help elevate my state of being and be more present and be more happy and be like a kid again. So you can find that. It's in my link tree. I offer it. It's there. You can download it for free. You can also choose to donate. It's up to you. I do donation based one-on-one calls, um, and yeah, I'll kind of leave it there. I've got Instagram is perfect for now. If you want to connect, by the way, I respond to everyone that DMs me. So to everyone that DMs me. So if you want to connect, that's actually the best way. Hey, just DM me, reach out to me, let's talk. if it's just a conversation, if it's something you want to do in terms of a co-creation, like Ben and I here, or if you would like to jump on a coaching session, just reach out to me. I'm always open, always happy to chat. And yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you so much for reaching out. I definitely been looking at your stuff, so it would have come eventually from me, but it was nice to have it come from you first. And I will continue to support you and everything that you're putting out into the world. I think it's beautiful, and I'm glad we connected.
Thank you. Likewise. Likewise.
Awesome. Well, I will talk to you
Beautiful.
soon.
Peace out. See you guys.
Bye.
Thank you.